Dr. A.M. Jazeel. She's a senior lecturer in education, grade 2, and she's working at the Department of Education and Training, Ministry of Education and Technology, Ranathunga. She has PhD in education, and she will be speaking to us on a study on awareness of cybersecurity among primary teacher training in, I don't know whether I can pronounce it properly, Chennai Government Primary Teachers College. And so it is your time now.
The extinguished chair of this conference, other presenters, scholars, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to everybody. I am Dr. Jazeel, Senior Lecturer in Education, working in the Department of Education and Training. In my presentations, I will focus mainly on the few area, and you can freely ask any question that you have at the end of the program. As the chair said, my topic is a study on awareness of cyber security among primary teacher trainees in Chennai Government Teachers College. My presentation focuses on mainly the introduction. Under the introductions, I will state about statement of the problem, objective of the study, and also methodology. Under the methodology, I will focus sample of the study, tool for the study, then the procedure, and analysis of data, major findings and conclusions. As you all know, the cyber crime is on the increase everywhere. A large number of people have become victim to this crime. It has affected not only the dealer, but also teachers and students to a great extent. Because even small children are now using the internet very often. They can also be the victims of cyber crime. In this context, the primary teachers who are closely working with the students need to be educated about the cyber crimes. It is their responsibility to give a sort of awareness about the cyber crime, to protect the data and the software and the applications and the network from the threat. cyber security or information technology security are the techniques of providing computers, networks, programs and data from unauthorized access to attack that are aimed for exploitations. The application of the security is very much important in this current era. The information in the digital form is not secure now. Large number of people fall victim, including the teachers and the students. Cyber security is more effective one to protect the data from the threat. Statement of the problem. The cyber crime is on the increase and the teachers and the students are among the victims. The awareness of security system is important to protect data from the threats. Hence, the research, a study on awareness of cyber security among primary teacher trainees in Atalachene Government Teachers College is planned to fill the gap. Objective of my study: to find out the level of awareness of cyber security among primary teacher trainees. First objective. The second objective is to find out whether there is any significant differences in awareness of cyber security among primary teacher trainees based on their gender, locality, knowledge of computer and having own computer. Simply the methodology I have used in this study is the survey method. The population of the study is all the trainee teachers who are getting the trainings in the Atalachene Teachers Training College. Out of them, I have selected 200 primary teacher trainees using stratified sampling techniques. Straight up, the selections were gender, locality, and ownership of the computers. The tools for the study. I have used two tools mainly for the studies. The first one is cyber security awareness scale. This is a Likert 5-point scale and which consists of 15 items. And this was validated using retest method. And also I got the expert opinions to moderate this scale. And the second tool is personal information schedule. This is used for collecting demographic data. And then the procedure of the study is, after validating the tools were administered to the sample and their responses were collected. The data were pooled and analyzed using statistical tools. Analysis of the data. Right, when you look at the analysis, the level of awareness of the cyber security, there are three levels that we have identified: low, average and high level. The range of scores starting from 10 to 29 for the low level, and 13 to 49 for the average level, and 15 to 69 for the highest level. According to this, it can be seen that 56% of the primary teacher trainees have low level of awareness about the cyber security. 28% of the primary teacher trainees have average level of awareness. And at the same time, this only 60% of primary teacher trainees have high levels of awareness. And the further analysis of this, according to the other demographic variable, the analysis is gender-wise. The data you can see, the male 80 and the female 120, and according to that the mean value is to 27.23 and for female 26.39, and it was tested at the significant level of level 1, and similarly that I have given all these details in the diagram that you can see. Right, I will go to the major findings of the study. Majority of the primary teacher trainees have low level of awareness. And the male primary teacher trainees have more awareness about the cyber security than the female primary teacher trainees. Second. The third one, urban primary teacher trainees have more awareness about the cyber security than the rural primary teacher trainees. And third, the fourth one is, the primary teacher trainees with the computer knowledge have more awareness about the cyber security than the primary teacher trainees without computer knowledge. And the final one is, the primary teacher trainees having computer on their own have more awareness about the cyber security than the primary teachers trainees without owning computer. The conclusions, it is concluded that from the analysis of the data, most of the primary teachers have low level of awareness about cyber security. This shows there is a need workshops incorporated in the curriculum for educating about the cyber crime and cyber security. It was also concluded that there is a significant differences in the awareness of the cyber security in terms of gender, locality, possession of their own computer. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My research topic is analysis of determinant of the paddy production in Kantale area in order to determine the effectiveness of paddy farming. As you know, rice is the staple food of the inhabitants of Sri Lanka. Paddy crops are cultivated as wetland crop in all the districts. The total land devoted for paddy is estimated to be about 708,000 hectares at present. However, the whole area devoted for paddy is not being cultivated due to number of reasons. However, paddy cultivation is not an easy thing and should be looked after continuously during the whole season of around 6 months. So it is to be counted all the capital plus labor hours with the commitment during all over the period to cultivate the total cost for the production. Total income can be calculated by the total value for the harvesting. Hence, the net profit can be calculated by comparing those two costs and income. So this research paper is going to be find out whether the productivity of paddy in Kantale area is profitable or not for those farmers. The sequence of the presentation is shown as on this screen. Ladies and gentlemen, today the production of rice is in Sri Lanka has decreased in a considerable amount than history. It has been happened due to many reasons. One reason is the new generation is in the country is going towards industrial based products rather than remaining at agricultural based productions. They do not like to be the traditional farmers. Another reason for this issue is the difficulties faced by farmers to sell their harvest to a considerable price. Even every time they suffer a lot for selling their productivity at a beneficial price. On the other hand, the paddy productivity does not provide enough profit at the end of the period of a season. Most of time, farmers will not cover their total expenditure out of the whole productivity. If they consider the total cost which their capital and labor cost including their own commitments, the net profit may not be a positive value. Then that is a huge issue for the paddy industry and need to be taken precautions. Ladies and gentlemen, the main objectives of my research was to determine the capital cost and labor cost pertaining to personal involvement for the farming in Kantale area, to determine the return risk for their production, to determine whether the farming is effective or not with their overall commitment. The specific objectives were to determine the marginal product of the labor and marginal product of the capital, to determine the output elasticity of labor and output elasticity of capital, to determine the marginal rate of technical substitution. I concern my research under the following areas, that is government policies and effectiveness in agriculture sector, labor market and behavioral trends, cost of the production and expected outcome, technology and capital accumulations. Based on the literature, the conceptual framework of the study was formulated. So, conceptual framework of the study was as shown on the screen. It is to be find out the relationship between inputs called independent variables at the left side and output called dependent variable at the right side. The hypothesis for the study was as shown on the screen. As per records, the number of farmers in Kantale Secretariat Division in 24 GA divisions would be 55,342, while active paddy farmers are less than that. However, the sampling size in the selected area was 250 farmers and sample was selected randomly. As per the records, it was used both primary data and secondary data for the research. Structured questionnaire and interviews have been used to collect primary data. As per the secondary data, it mainly insists on Hector Compact Agrarian Research and Training Institute data sources. The set of questionnaire was structured using the Liger format with the 5-point response scale. The regression method data analysis was done by using the IBM SPSS data analysis software. Ladies and gentlemen, as the finding of my research, first one is cost of the production. That based on the research objectives, the required capital per 1 unit would be 21,015 rupees and labor cost per unit will be 38,000 rupees for the paddy cultivation in Kantale area as per the best year 2017. According to the table shown on the screen, it clearly indicates that when increasing both capital and labor, decreasing return to the scale at the beginning, where law of variable proportion applied as constant state of technology. However, while increase in both capital and labor, decrease in return to the scale can be due to situational factors such as natural climate conditions changing. Friendly to the Cook-Douglas production function, labor coefficient in 0.35 as per the t-value, which is not significant, and the increasing capital would be significant due to 9.73 of t-value. By determining multiple R value is 0.99, it implies that the regression equation can explain variation output. Elasticity of labor is 0.025, which is inelastic, and elasticity capital would be 0.97 inelastic as per the coefficient. Therefore, it clearly indicates that when increasing the capital and labor, it has been rising at a decreasing rate due to the inelasticity. So, it is unable to maximize the profit when the capital and labor are increased. Gentlemen, my research first follow two methods. Then one is Cook-Douglas production function, other one is Likert scale. So, according to the method 1, it required 38 units of labor and 70,215 rupees of total cost per 1 in case study area. The return to scale for paddy farming in Kantale area would be not increasing as per the input level of the case study. The paddy cultivation in Kantale area is beneficial for the farmers due to its average return and also due to the level of unemployment rate. According to the MRTS, It involves the trade-offs of labor and capital in order to change the allocation while maintaining the same level of satisfaction. At large scale, it can be riskier due to main three reasons as indicated on the screen. Channel method 2, according to this analysis, it discards the null hypothesis of the case which weighted by all the independent variables according to the data. However, based on above results, acceptance the alternative hypothesis of the case study, and it is highly emphasized on the relationship between independent variables for the dependent variable, as effectiveness of paddy farming has a strong relationship with paddy production in Kantala area. Ladies and gentlemen, based on the objectives of the research, the capital cost and labor cost pertaining to personal involvement for the farming in Kantala area would be risky and compared to the rate of interest. Paddy farming would be acceptable according to the return to scale, which increasing and decreasing where farmers would not expand more than the level, especially the bank loans due to interest rate for borrowers. Sri Lanka is one of developing countries that have under-invested in the development of rural areas and agriculture, where the food crisis is moderately expected by the negligence due to the lower public interest. Therefore, it is highly recommended that the budget allocation should be enhanced in the agricultural sector, especially paddy cultivation and related areas such as research and development due to many economic and social reasons. These are the references which I followed during my research. Thank you very much.
Quite interesting paper. See you in the presentation. Thank you.
Chairperson sir, good morning everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to present a paper, Traditional Techniques of Dyeing Textile with Natural Dyes, a case study of southern province in Sri Lanka. I am Birajini and my colleague Dr. Gayatri will be accompanied with me. Introduction. Dyeing with plant-based extract has a long tradition in the world. Synthetic dyes and heavy metal molars affect the environmental pollution and the human health. Therefore, a new era has come back to look back ancient values and customs in order to seek solutions for human and environmental health. Natural dyes still practiced by textile weavers of Sri Lanka, however, not preserve the traditions of dyeing. Therefore, there is an urgent need to study them and compile the body of knowledge. This must be revealed through research and natural dyeing tradition relevant to the lives of the people. Such an effort would contribute to bringing sustainability back into the textile coloration process. Now at the moment, the whole society is more concerned about the sustainability. So after the introduction of synthetic dyes to the market, it has been really affected to the health of people and the environmental as well. So it is really need to see our traditional techniques, and we would like to introduce some of our traditional techniques, and we hope to present our findings today. Objective of the study is to find reclaimed systems of dyeing according ancient natural dye systems of Sri Lanka. Methodology of the research based on actually qualitative approach, and we have selected our study setting as a southern province, and there are 3 districts there. We selected 5 dyeing centers located in southern province, 2 centers from Galle, 2 centers from Matara, and 1 center from Hambantota. The sample size, actually there are 5 workers who are mainly doing this kind of traditional dyeing techniques. And we have carried out several field observations, and we closely monitored their process, and we recorded their data in visual manner as well as written way. And we collected data from distributing semi-structured questionnaires, and after that we conducted some follow-up telephone interviews to verify our some data. And actually after the research we carried out, we obtained mainly several kind of colors and dye processes and mordants, that means fixing agents. After collecting our data, we started analysis. So actually we collected data from the constructive interviews, and we summarize our data and we categorize according to 4 ways. We categorize them as color range, raw material, mordant and dye processes. The idea is that investigated color and wash fastness properties in detail for each and every color.
Now we will see the results that we have found. So here we would like to focus you on significant findings. So throughout the survey, we were able to discover the range of natural dyes and natural mordants. Mordants are really important in finding a sustainable way of clothing. And according to the survey, 15 plant-based extractions were found out, actually recorded, and as a natural mordants, mukunuan and korakaha leaves amazingly found out. And also the 13 hues of colors, a spectrum of colors were found out that leads from subtle colors to bright hues were found out as well. And obtain bright colors. It says that normally it is impossible to find out bright colors through natural coloring processes, but amazingly we found that they were able to produce bright colors such as yellow, turquoise blue, which is very vogue during fashion scenario, as well as reddish pink. And obtain shades of colors, that mean green to olive green. Again, olive green is very much vogue in fashion in the current world, and yellowish green kind of shades of colors. And achieve better color fastness by adding chopping bamboo leaves. This has a long tradition in Sri Lanka. So as you know that Buddhist priests were used to wash their robes by adding chopping bamboo leaves in order to resist color. So this has been practicing since their ancient time today even, and also able to produce a color palette. And here I would like to show you a summary of obtained color using plant extracts. According to our methodology, we categorized our findings into colors, dye substances and mordants as well. Green, olive green, yellowish green, light yellow, bright yellow, blue kind of colors, as well as navy blue, turquoise blue, reddish pink, purple, reddish brown, brown, black kind of colors. A spectrum of colors were found out. These are some of the colors that they found. Normally they practice green. Actually it's a subtle green, even it is not very much quite possibly seen in the screen. And here shades of colors. The blue, beautiful blue, was able to produce through Neelavaria plant. And here you will see green was able to produce by using Hatavaria low leaves, and also olive green by using Aralu and Kaha, blending of Aralu and Kaha, and yellowish green again Kaha Kada, that means the inner layer of our coconut that was very much able, show the productivity of the yellowish green. And also the light yellow, wild linguru root, and also we can use local ginger. And bright yellow, wild inguru root, and also dried sepalika flowers. and they were used those colors. And in order to produce blue, kaha, turmeric, and that was boiled with alum. And also turquoise blue produced by Nil-Lavaria plant, and I will show you some of the more important things. Yes, this blue as I have told you, as a result of Nil-Lavaria, and here Aralu and Patangi. This is turmeric. This is dried Sepalika flower. This is jackfruit. Jackfruit is really potential in producing bright yellow. And this is a process of showing washing Patangi. Here, washing Nil-Lavaria. And discussion, the final color of the material is depending on the dyeing process as well as the mordant. They've been through a trial and error processes. And usually plant extracts are used raw form or dried form or powder form. Form of all three, color intensity was found to be high. Plant extracts are not only used as dye but also as a mordant in the dyeing process, such as Mutunga and Korakaha. Either plant extracts or non-toxic mordants such as alum are always being used in the dyeing process. And one of the most interesting things, clay pots are used as the dye bath, in which dye and mordant are mixed with the required amount of water and boiled with the yarns using firewood. And they use a traditional method of producing, in order to produce black. That means the aralu seeds were retaining in black clay, and they let it be there for a couple of days, and they boil with the mordant that was able to produce bright, dark, black. So according to conclusion, this study attempted to uncover some of the ancient practices with the view of bringing sustainability back into the textile coloration process, even though the synthetic dyes capture the market mainly due to attractive range of colors. This study showed the natural dyes also carry the potential to produce an attractive range of color. So I would like to stress on one point. In this research, we never try to interpret their recordings. We want to give a primary data to the world because that is their traditional practice. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you Dr. Karunarathne and Dr. Ranathunga. It's very interesting presentation. Now we have about 20 minutes for question and answer. So you can identify yourself and then identify the speaker that you want to raise any question. So now floor is yours. Any hands? Okay, so while you are preparing, with your permission, let me just ask a very simple clarificatory question from our last two speakers, Dr. Karunarathne and Dr. Ranathunga. You, in the conclusion, you have suggested that this area has a lot of potential. I completely agree with that idea, because I always believe that those who are engaged in this business, perhaps they have their own invention, but when it comes to entrepreneurship, business, perhaps maybe they are not that developed. So since there are potential in this industry, would you be able to send this message to kind of relevant authorities in Sri Lanka so that they can take up this potential business for future development of the country? Do you have any idea on that?
Yes, actually this is a preliminary study. What we discussed, we collected all the methods currently practicing by the weavers, and in our fashion design course, we are promoting sustainable fashion as well. So at present, after this investigation, our students are able to find out more color ranges than the existing color ranges produced by the weavers. So now our next step is to introduce collections of dresses to the local fashion market by giving promotion in terms of enhancing our values and customs. So at this moment actually we already dyed more yarns, and we were able to produce different kinds of fabrics as well at the university, and currently we are producing different kind of outfits with this kind of materials. And at the moment actually we are working with the industry of textiles, and we are promoting this value system to the country, and we hope ultimately it brings more value to entrepreneurships and things like that as well. So actually I have some of the samples what our students are doing at present. Okay. Now
this sari was dyed by cotton leaf. This has been gone through 10 washers, but still the colors are fabulous. So that means the sustainability of natural dyes are so unarguable.
Yeah, Sri Lanka has a long kind of history on this dyeing industry, and I'm familiar with some of the handlooms that Kalani area they are producing. I saw it when I was traveling from Japan to Sri Lanka. I saw there's a very interesting documentary on handloom industry. So the documentary has some information about this traditional dyeing industry in Sri Lanka. So I think we have to preserve that also. Let me just remind you one important thing, which is done by Kalani University Professor Ranathunga, and earlier it was done by Professor Ranathunga. We have palm leaf, that what we call puskolapot in Sinhala.
Palm leaf.
Yes, palm leaf manuscripts, and it has some very kind of traditional medicine and also dyeing technology. So they are now digitalizing that, because most of those palm leaves are now getting damaged. So I think they have started very interesting project. I think perhaps same thing can be done in this dyeing industry. If there are some old literature on that, perhaps we have to preserve it, and we have to there are patent issue also, the property right issue. So perhaps we have to pay attention to that also.
I would like to say, sir, actually this is a matter of our sensitivity to the nature.
Exactly.
As far as we are sensitive to the nature, we can find out the dye mordants and plant-based extractions.
Right,
actually.
right.
So there are full of colors surrounded by us.
Right, right. So you can get the example from Sigiri also, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay, yeah. Any comment, question? Yes, Professor Jawad.
Just one question, I agree with Professor Kure also, and your presentation is again very interesting. Only thing now, since you are in the university, I think as far as concerned in the long run, this kind of areas of research are very important. And now after get stuck with all these market liberal oriented things, we have to think of all these areas very seriously. But what I think is we need, I think, explorative studies on different areas where there are problems as far as when we consider the practicability of all these areas, projects. Because if you stuck in the market, definitely this thing will not come out. Either there should be some kind of conditions for the whole, at least in the Sri Lankan economy or global scenario, for us to go ahead with all these projects. So therefore, we need the explorative studies to come out with the hidden areas where we are facing so many constraints as far as the practicability. So I would like to suggest I think from the university level, first I think need to have explorative studies and bring out some areas for in-depth studies where you can use students community as well as younger generation for further studies which will help the industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you for interesting comment. Yes, sir. Can you identify yourself and then you can ask question. Just mention the speaker's name.
Good morning, all of you. I'm Object from Intake 34. My question goes to Dr. M. Jazeel. So, first of all, I would like to say you have done a great presentation regarding cybersecurity system, and thank you for that. So, you are saying that urban teachers are having more awareness than rural teachers regarding cybersecurity system. So, I think rural and urban both teachers should get to know cybersecurity. My question is, what are you suggesting to do to get improve rural teachers' knowledge regarding cybersecurity?
This is really a very interesting question. That when I conducted the study, that I found that the rural teachers are less aware about this cybersecurity compared to the city teachers. So the best thing is there are some programs organized by the Ministry of Education and the NI, National Institute of Education, to improve the knowledge of the ICT among the teachers. But the program that is conducted by the NIE and the Ministry of Education are rather formal, and they do not give the more emphasis to the security side. But even though there are certain area that covers about the using virus card and all that, but still that the emphasis is not enough. I think this study will help the ministry or the policy designers to give more area when they give more training to the primary teachers, irrespective of the city teachers or rural teachers. Thank you. I hope I answered your questions.
Thank you. Yes. Any question or comment? Okay. So while you are preparing, let me ask and again another clarificatory question from Major Silva. You have beautifully constructed Cobb-Douglas production function, taking data from Kantele area, and you have concluded that your coefficient on the labor output or the coefficient relating to labor is about 0.3 something, and the relevant coefficient for capital is about 0.7. Does it mean that the farmers in Kantele area have used more capital intensive technology than labor intensive technology? Because the coefficient according to Cobb-Douglas, the function suggests that, because your coefficient are 0.3 for labor and 0.7 is for capital, meaning they are more capital intensive farmers.
Yeah, so according to the research analysis that I received that results. However, that farming in small scales, they will have more profit. That's the why I emphasize more that. But in large scales, but even they increase the capital or labor in large scales, they will not break that high return of scale such as the industries.
Okay. And the other one is, you said the 38 unit of labor. So unit refers to the labor hours or the days?
Hours.
Labor hours. Thank you. Okay, so now may I get some questions? We have about 10 minutes. Yes? Anybody? I think maybe our 5 speakers have explained everything, right? So you don't have a question. Or the other reason may be You didn't understand anything. I believe that the first could be the reason, right? Right. Okay, so while again you are preparing, let me ask another question to our first speaker, Ms. Kodituaku. Very interesting presentation. You have listed many factors, pull factors and push factors about the tourist arrival to whole area. I was in Goa last week and I saw many tourists are visiting Goa as one of the best destination and World Heritage Site in Sri Lanka. Among all the factors that you have included, I don't know whether you tried the income factor, because tourists, the arrival, I have seen in many studies, when it comes to tourist arrival, let's say the consumption, for example, depends on income and the prices, mainly income basically. And again, when people decide to travel, so income matters. We need money to do anything, right? So you have listed many factors, but I don't know, did you think of income factor in getting tourists decision to visit any places?
I selected all the factors from the literature review, but I didn't get any price income factor. This problem, I think it's one of weakness of my study. I should mention it.
Okay.
The next time, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other things? You want to ask question? I can see from your face. Huh? No? So you have solved everything. You don't have any question. Very good. Very good. Right. Places from here. They don't even look at me. Right. Perhaps our dean would like to say something on any presentation, or do you have any expectation?
Sorry, I didn't receive any presentations. I know that from the audience and what language and all that in our session.
Do you have any point that you couldn't do clarify while you are presenting this, taking 1 or 2 minutes just to say anybody from our speaker?
Natural dance. So we have to think about that. I think we've been gone through many processes. The people, the traditional people are using that techniques. We have to find out, we have to discuss with them. Even they are not realizing such a glorified tradition they have.
So thank you.
That
for,
is our responsibility.
I think you are sharing very important and valid information. I also have the same belief because when Sri Lanka introduced open economic policies back in 1977, many argue that a lot of textile industries, clothing industries were flourished, and in fact in Sri Lanka, textile industry or clothing industry has become one of the major foreign exchange earner in Sri Lanka, and we are competing with many countries. And of course, our major markets are in Europe and UK. We are targeting upper markets. And countries like Bangladesh, Vietnam, also recently they are coming up. But we don't have any competition from those countries because we are targeting upper market. We produce the best, the quality products to US market and European market. So I think our industry is developed in that, high scale. But at the same time, as you have correctly pointed out, some of our traditional industry has been affected. That's I don't know whether it is negative or positive. I don't want to comment on that. But still, the traditional sector is still there, and as you said, there are a lot of potential. Let me just mention you something that is done by Ministry of Social Empowerment. I think Minister Harris from Ranathunga area. So they are doing conducting pilot study. I don't know whether you have heard something called SIYB, Start, Improve Your Business. So that was started by ILO. It is part of the Millennium Development Goals. They want to eradicate poverty from this world, and they are developing entrepreneurship everywhere in the world. And Sri Lanka also has started, and the ministry just want to have a kind of pilot project in Anuradhapur area. The whole purpose of this project is to train entrepreneurs, like small scale entrepreneurs. I think if you can communicate with the Social Empowerment Ministry, together with the Ministry of Textile, perhaps you can bring several ministries together and bring those ministries' attention to this very important work, and then you can contribute to the maintaining the traditional Sri Lankan technology on dyeing technology, and maybe you can also target a very kind of niche market, special market. There are a lot of things called local things. Perhaps you can improve, connect with even the tourism ministry. So I think there are a lot of potential. Okay, I think let's get any other comments or questions. So we still have 5 minutes to another important event, tea break. Are you eagerly waiting for that? Right. Okay, yes, Dr. Aziz.
I wanted to emphasize in my presentation, there is a new threat among the teachers. Recently, I went through a story in the newspaper that a parent of the parents has threatened the teacher. What has happened was the teacher has sent some SMS to the daughter of the parent. So originally, the teacher did not send any message to the student, but the parent showed the evidence that he has sent a message from his phone. So this is really an issue. When he complained to the police, and it was identified that there are certain things which is they now call caller ID spoofing technique that is used by many people. Now the problem is because most of the people are not aware of how this cyber crime is going on among the teachers. Basically, the teachers and the students are falling the victims. So I thought of explaining this as an example in my presentation. I also hope to do another research how teachers and the students are aware of this fake identity used for sending for some other mal purposes. That is really very important because the teachers are educating the students. When the teachers have some sort of knowledge about these things, they can share with their own students. Thank you.
Thank you. I think as chair of this session, I'm supposed to kind of summarize or give my own comments on presentation. With your permission, let me do that. Our first speaker, Ms. Kodituaku, her presentation on revisit intention to goal. I have commented a little bit on the paper. You mentioned that 0.13% of world tourist arrival is coming to Goa or to the whole Sri Lanka. It's only all Sri Lanka, and about 0.2% of total tourist income from Sri Lanka. Okay, right. I think the tourism industry is kind of booming industry in Sri Lanka, and the government has planned to achieve or receive, I think, about 5 million. Right? That's the target in 2020. So it's about 25% of the Sri Lankan total population getting tourists. Can you believe that country getting about 25% of total population as tourists? It's a kind of big challenge for Sri Lanka, and there are a lot of potentials. Perhaps the country should prepare, how to cater to those tourists. About 5 million tourists coming in 2020. So it's not an easy task. So I think when country try to improve tourism, in one way it is contributing to the beautification of the country. And Sri Lanka, I have heard from many foreigners that of course it's a beautiful country, my own country, Even though I have been living in Japan for 28 years, whenever I come, I still, enjoy the beauty of this country. So, being a small country, getting a lot of things within short distance. That's the interesting part of Sri Lankan tourism industry. So, if you want to get cold weather, within 2-3 hours you can go to Nuwara area. You feel there, and if you that's in Japan you can get it. In US you cannot get it, but in Sri Lanka even in summer, if you prefer to go to cool weather, within 3 hours you can go. That's the interesting thing in Sri Lanka. And there are about 7 or 8 World Heritage sites, and we even have World Heritage Forest, Singaraj. So perhaps maybe you can explain those, particularly if you can give some information about tourists arrival to go area. I could not see that information in your presentation, perhaps due to time limitation. Perhaps if you can supply that, provide some data table on tourist arrival to goal area, some kind of descriptive data about the tourist arrival to goal and what has been the trend and why they are visiting goal. If you can identify major reasons for that, perhaps that will be very useful for policy analysis, policy makers in the future. This is not a kind of criticism, I think it's just a kind of suggestion. And also include income factor, which is the most important factor in attracting tourists. So we need income to travel everywhere. So among other factors, perhaps you can include that factor also. And the second presentation by Jazeel on cyber crime is also a very important factor. It is not only for India, I think it is even for Sri Lanka and many other developing countries. It is very useful. You have mentioned that about low awareness. About 56% of the teachers are ignorant about this crime areas, and only 16% is kind of has some good understanding of cyber security. Again, you have mentioned, whether if they are more urbanized, they have more awareness. If they are male, they are more aware, and if they have computers, they are better informed about the crimes. In Sri Lanka, there was a discussion, I think it is being implemented, provide laptop to the students, right? Is it students, or I think the Prime Minister was trying to university students, right? I don't know whether you can think of that kind of thing, because you get full awareness of all these crimes if you provide that kind of things. And also in your study, income also matters, because having a computer means it's a proxy for income. So I don't know how income affects the education, because education and income is closely correlated, because most of parents' income nowadays are being spent on education, right? So perhaps maybe you can also include income as one determinant of awareness of crime. That's my simple comment on you. And Major Silva's, I think you have like 250 samples. You mentioned that it needs about 70,000 rupees to cultivate, 1 acre of paddy. I'm aware about some studies done by Ministry of Finance on paddy, estimating paddy cost in the production cost. So how much of money that normal farmer needs to for cultivating 1 acre. I think they have taken data from Ampara area, because Ampara, Karunarathne, Karunarathne are the about, I think these 3 districts provide 70% of paddy production in Sri Lanka. And I have done some research on that. I think you have cited one of my papers. So I think my paper on paddy production is not there. So you have put my recent book on that. Maybe there are a lot of studies on paddy production. In fact, I am supervising one thesis also, PhD thesis on paddy production. Perhaps you can get a kind of comparative picture about the cost factor, whether the Kantale area farmers have to spend more money on paddy production than other areas. so that you can identify what are the major cost factors and what are the alternative way of to reduce the cost. And in my understanding, I think we have to diversify the product base. The paddy, as you have correctly pointed out, maybe it's not big profit industry. And I mentioned how Japanese farmers are surviving. They are diversifying even rice. I mentioned yesterday that they are producing instant rice. So I think what Sri Lankans have to do is the marketing. It's not the production issue because we have enough rice now, but we do have problem with marketing. And also our agricultural sector should be modernized so that because the people are moving away from the agricultural sector, we need labor. So modernizing is the one area. So nowadays the technology has improved and you can even control water level from home, from your computer. So I saw one in exhibition, that is I think the tractors, major tractors, Kubota. So everything is being done by computers, even the water control, the fertilizer application, everything you can modernize. You can do everything in computers. So perhaps you can incorporate, give some comparative picture on that. And the last one, I think I have commented enough on our last presentation. So I hope these comments will be useful to improve your research. And this research, as I said, it has a lot of potential to business. So research without business has no meaning. So I think most of your research have that potential. So link up with the industry, link up with the applied research. That will be very useful for India and also Sri Lanka. So once again, together with the group, I would like to congratulate our 5 speakers for being with us and giving very interesting, insightful presentation. And I wish you very bright research career in the future. And we have selection. We are selecting best paper, not now. It's in the afternoon. Okay. So your papers have been evaluated carefully, and perhaps you will hear that information later on.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of the technical session 1 of the Faculty of Management, Social Sciences and Humanities. May I have the honor of inviting Professor N.S. Kure, the chair of the session, to present certificates to the presenters. Ms. D.S. Kodituaku, Dr. A.M. Jazeel, Major G.T.K. De Silva, Dr. P.V.M. Karunarathne and Dr. G.M. Ranathunga. Thank you, sir. Sir, please remain on the stage.
Now, I would like to invite Dean of the Faculty of Management, Social Sciences and Humanity, Dr. Namani Sirisoma, to present the session, chair with a token of appreciation. Thank you, madam.